Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Racecast, our highlights show for the Legion of Racers Online League. In this episode, we look back at Round 6, the season finale. And what a season it has been. This year's Online League started in June, and in the blink of an eye, the season is over. The final round happened last Friday, and we live streamed the Lobby 1 race onto our Facebook page. Be sure to check that race out if you haven't already done so. With the COVID-19 pandemic still affecting many of us in some way or another, we'd like to take this opportunity to remind everyone to please stay safe. At the same time, we're also grateful and thankful to all the participants who joined us in this year's season. We hope it has been both fun and memorable for everyone. Thank you. Alright, making the headlines in this episode, we'll be hearing from the newly crowned champions. Firstly, Jonathan Wong from Hong Kong, also known as Saika 159 for the Pro category, followed by Sean Yee from Singapore, known as Mystical Elites for the N category. We'll also be having a quick chat with one of the co-founders of Tarmac Works Diecast, Mr. Felix Kwong. Round 6 of the 2020 Online League season was held last week with drivers racing in their Nissan GTR Nismo GT3 at Suzuka International Circuit in Japan. This track is known for its high-speed corners such as the 130R, the technically challenging Casio chicane, and the tricky S's at the earlier sections of the track. For the qualifying round in the Pro category, Jonathan Wong started in pole after setting a blistering time of 1 minute 56.071 seconds. This was followed by Marino Pratama with just 0.5 of a second behind in second, while Miguel San Mateo from the Philippines came in third on the grid. As for the M category, all eyes were on Razaki Madrova and Sean Yee, who were tied on points coming into this final race. They qualified 7th and 11th respectively to start the race. For the Pro category, and with a flawless drive from pole to finish, Jonathan Wong drove a masterclass of a race to take the top step off the podium, effectively making him the champion of this year's league. Marino Pratama from Indonesia put up a good fight and finished the race in P2, while fellow Indonesian Raditya Indira took 3rd place, rounding up the top 3 of the Pro category for the final round. As for the M category, Sean Yee from Singapore finished in 8th position, making him 1st for the M's. Razaki Madrova battled hard with Sean throughout the race, coming in right behind him in P9. This effectively makes Sean Yee the champion of the season for the M category, with just a mere 3 points ahead. Yo Hong Yang, a carter from Singapore, made it to P3 in the M category podium by finishing 12th in Lobby 1. This clearly exemplifies the intensity and professionalism coming from all the drivers. Let us now take a look at the top moments from Round 6. Last 3 corners, and Jonathan Wong will take the checkered flag for this year's Online League, and not just for tonight's race. It would make it 5 out of 6. You can see the high beams flashing, and away we go. There we go. The checkered flag is out. Jonathan Wong, congratulations, representing Hong Kong in the Pro category. Exciting stuff from start to finish in all lobbies. What a spectacular way to end the season with that race in Suzuka. Let us now take a look at the race results as well as the final top 10 standings of the league. Here in the pro category, your top 3 winners. Jonathan Wong finishing in first, Marino Pratama in second, and Indira Raditya in third. With those wins now locked in, let us take a look at the top 10. Jonathan Wong finishes the entire season with a grand total of 625 points. Marino Pratama with 594 points in second, and with a mere 3 points difference, Raditya Indira in third. Miguel San Mateo finishes in 4th place with 574 points, while Tubagus Farhan finishes in 5th with 565 points. Onward now to the AND category. Your top 3 winners. Sean Yee finishing in first, Rizaki Madrova in second, and Yo Hong Yang in third. Here in the top 10 standings, Sean Yee finishes the season in the best spot with 543 points, while Rizaki Madrova ends his season just 3 points behind. I'm sure the two will be putting in tons of training in preparation for next year's season. Ryo Kusuma wraps up his season in third with 511 points, Jaden Koch in fourth with 500 points, and Fadris Issa in fifth with 495 points. Finally, we take a look at the E-Nations Cup. And thanks to the stellar performance from Jonathan Wong, Hong Kong comes up top of the list with the grand total of 745 points. What this also means, aside from bragging rights and honor, is that participants from Hong Kong will be able to decide one of the circuits which we will be competing in for next year's season. Alright, next up on this episode of Racecast, let's hear what the 2 newly crowned champions for the Pro and Am categories have to say.
Yeah, obviously I'm very happy for the results that I'm the champion of this league this year. And this not very much happening in the Gran Turismo sport career for me, that because everyone is so fast, so competitive, I rarely have the chance to go on the top step of the podium. This very amazing for me to do that in the league very well and get the top step of the podium for me in this league. The most memorable moment is like after round 4, I got a message that I needed to do surgery, and luckily that was some happened to the hospital a little delay, because the surgery was like 3 or 4 days before the round 5 race. If I doing the surgery that day, I must miss the round 5 race. That I didn't want to miss any stage or round in the league, because it's good fun to race with you guys, and it's very lucky that it's delayed to the Monday that after the round 5, so I can join the race and recover in 2 weeks time to join the last round of the race. Very happy that someone is really going that fast that I need to push a lot to chase it. And so after the surgery, I put more time in Suzuka's that I want to do even better than him. I think the last round, Suzuka's with the Chichao, because this is the 3rd year that I do some race with the Japanese guys, do the 10 hour of Suzuka endurance. Every year we did 2 hours per person with a stint, so we need to do a lot of practice, qualifies, and we also got top 10 time trial, so we push a lot on that track. I'm not very like racing on that track because it's one of a very difficult track to race in. So, but because I practice a lot on that track, and GTL is also one of my favorite car on that category. So this combination I like the most. In this moment, I didn't think about anything that I want to buy with, but I'll save it first. Maybe next year or the end of this year, I'll try to upgrade my computer with those money, because maybe I would join some computer sim racing afterwards. So I want to try how I'm doing in the other sims, not just GT Sport. Uh, my advice for the other sim racers is always to be know what they want to do on the track, like overtake, defense, those things. You need to think about it, not just you see a gap and go for it. Racing is not just win in this moment. You need to think about what happened if you do this to affect your car, maybe affect the position, the time loss. You need to think about a lot of things in the race if you are doing it. Of course, if you're racing in endurance, you can ask for your teams, should I do that, to let them think about for it. But we race in GT Sport is always is like racing in spin race, half an hour or 1 hour. You need to think if you fight now, the time loss might be very much. If you fight a lot, so the time loss maybe is more than what you gain. So you need to really think about it and find what the difference to the other guys. You good at where, he good at where. You need to think a lot of things. It's not just driving around and try to overtake someone in this moment.
Thank you. Well, I'm feeling a little bit more normal now, but after crossing the finish line on the last lap of Suzuka, it was a mixed emotion because I got off to a very messy start, and I don't know whether I could end this league cleanly because for the first stint, I had a lot of accidents. I went off track, and you guys know that Razaki is only 3 seconds behind me at the end. So if I do get any penalties, he might take the crown. That's why it was a mixed feelings. But after the next day, I was having lunch with my group of racing buddies, KF Lee, Rave, Synthetical, and Swiftfire. They were all my training buddies during this league. And the the results got announced, and it was a very joyous occasion. To be honest, me and my guys, especially with Brave and Alex, we trained almost every single evening prior to the league for Goodwood. That's how we get to score Goodwood so well, because I think we trained for at least a month prior to you guys announcing how the setup of the cars will be like, whether there's gonna be any wear and tear. So we just went all out, understand the track, so on and so forth. And after that, when the circuit breaker got called off and we went into phase two, we have not as much time, I would say, as we had during circuit breaker. So I ended up probably only training for 2 to 3 nights a week. So, and each night probably about 3 hours. So at max 20 hours of playtime before every league. I would say the end of round 2, because the end of round 2 was quite a wake-up call where a game was no longer a game. Okay, why would I say that is that I got into quite a number of incidents in round 2. So I wasn't driving as cleanly. I got into quite a bit of accidents left and right. And when you're driving with those other players, they are not computers, they are not AI. They are real drivers behind the wheel or controller. And probably I didn't give them enough respect, enough space. And I brake too hard, trying too hard, without any proper respect. So with that, things didn't end up well. I got penalized. I got quite a earful from some of the drivers as well, which I do accept for some of them. And it's the most memorable one because it makes you realize that this sim racing is real. You're playing, although it's a game, but you're racing with real players. It's a league, and it made me want to fight harder because I'm like, okay, there's something that I must fight for right now. it's gonna be spent back into my rig. So into a better setup for one. Because right now I have issues with my pedals. So I'm not breaking as consistently as I could. So maybe a load cell pedals for one. And number two, of course, bringing out my buddies for a treat. The four other guys that train with me night and day during circuit breaker period, post circuit breaker, whenever they have the time, we send each other messages like, hey, tonight, let's go for a training. and they'll be there, sharing tips as well. So definitely with the guys out for a meal.
That's great to hear. I mean,
just do it. Just do it. Seriously. If you want to buy a wheel, you really love driving, do it. But instead of just thinking about it, ask your parents. If you're young, ask your parents, hey, dad, mom, I want to try driving in this game. I want to learn how to race. Get their support. Let them understand why, and go for it. If you're someone like me in my 30s, and you have the passion for racing, for driving, for cars, just do it. Because if you don't do it now, you never know when. And I'd like to say as well, thank you LOR for this league, because without this league, I would never know how well I could do or how hard I can push myself. One fun fact, I signed up, I believe, 2 days before closing. Even though my friends were like, hey, Sean, go, sign up. I said, I'll see how. And because I did not have the confidence, I'm like, I'm just going to waste $30 because I'm not going to win anything. But think of the experience that you gain, the $30 in exchange for the experience you get for the league. It's fulfilling.
In today's Let's Chat segment, we'll be talking to Mr. Felix Kwong, Managing Director and co-founder of Tarmac Works, a die-cast model car company powered by pure passion and successfully growing into a well-known and respectable brand worldwide.
So hi everybody, I'm Felix from Hong Kong, and I'm from Tarmac Works, a model car company. So we started back in 2014, again out here in Hong Kong, and then we've been working very hard on various model cars, but main focus on racing cars. And so that's why part of the reason why we're here today with Legion of Racers is to promote our cars as well and to promote esports, e-racing. To produce a car, it actually takes a lot of research. I think that part probably takes up most of our time. So research on the shape of the car and the dimensions of the car, especially for race cars, there are a lot of different liveries, logos, and different patterns on the cars that we have to research on. So tons of photos are needed, especially for those that have raced 15, 20, 30 years ago. It's very difficult to find photos. And so once we have that, then we move on to the 3D stage where we build the 3D model of the car. And oftentimes we can't scan the actual car. So we have to base it on some other sort of street version of the car, and then have the 3D based upon that. And then after that, then is the 3D sampling, and then the tooling, the metal tooling comes into play, because all of our cars basically are made out of die cast, what we call is metal. And so, fine tuning the die cast and the tooling and everything. And then comes the decoration part where we put on the temple, what we call temple print or stickers of decorations and everything. And then a lot of back and forth there, and then the car gets sort of produced, and then we also design the packaging. So for us, every packaging is different, so it takes time to make the certain designs, and then finally it comes sort of together, and that would take around, I would say, 7 to 8 months from nothing to something. Yeah. So the biggest market right now would be, I would say, Hong Kong, China. The US is also growing really fast. Some of the other growing countries would be Thailand, Japan as well. Singapore has been there as well for a long time. Our biggest product right now, it used to be the Honda Civic EG6. That's the car that we sort of started with. Right now it has been the last couple of years has been the RWB, just the sort of the wide body Porsche. If you haven't heard of RWB, but it's been taking off and it's hugely popular and it's still very popular since we launched it year and a half, 2 years ago. So I have been a terrible sim racer for 4 years now, I think 3 or 4 years now. So I would say we're very closely connected to it. A couple of our guys also has been racing from our team, and they will be racing in LOR as well. We also were a very big part of the e-racing Grand Prix in Hong Kong. This was back in 2018. So we have been always trying to be very close to esports, and I think especially this year with the pandemic, a lot of people are turning into e-racing because the real racing cannot happen, and so I think is a perfect time to really get involved, and so that's why we're really happy to work with you guys to develop this together, because for us on a more sort of tarmac level is where we can actually create the livery of the car. So in the old days, in the older more traditional days, we have to wait for the real racing to happen, and then we see, oh, this car looks really nice, they won the race, or the decoration is really nice, and we make that car. So it's very sort of reactive. In esports, then we can be very proactive in the way that we can design the livery, and this is what we're working with you guys on the livery contest, for example. And then we are actually spending a lot of time trying to create our own livery for the race, and working with another brand that I can't say right now at the moment, but you probably see it already by the time this video comes out. So just working on a lot of really exciting livery that we can feature on the cars. And then eventually we can make the model car out of it. So for us, it's a perfect sort of match. It definitely has affected us. I think it has affected everybody. But for us, I think we're quite blessed and thankful that it's we're not in the worst in that sense. So our factory of course it's in China, and so it was closed for probably 2.5, 3 months. With workers sort of slowly coming back in, and by the time now that we're sort of back to normal, but then again, a lot of the planes and flights gets canceled, so a lot of our shipping and logistics part of it comes into play now that we're troubled by it. So yeah, it has definitely affected us, but I think on the other side is that people are doing a lot more online shopping, so that has helped in a bit, where they're still purchasing our cars. And I think for us, we're sort of in the hobby or toys industry, if you will. People do try to buy the cars to keep some sanity and happiness in our lives, and so people are still ordering. So we're really thankful for that, and so we're very lucky and fortunate to be in this industry where it's not affected so much as compared to others.
That's all we have for you in this episode of Racecast. It has been an awesome and exciting season, and my pleasure for hosting the show. The 2021 season will be happening, and I can assure you that it will be returning better and stronger. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more updates. Once again, thank you all for joining me. Never stop racing. All here, signing off.